My name is Sonya Wilson. This is my daughters Carly and Courtney and Haley. They've all been severe asthmatics since birth. Carly, I guess, for a long time was the worst. She was in and out of the hospital numerous times. We started seeing the allergist and seemed like we weren't just getting much better. So at that point, then they mentioned the clinical research to us. And at first, I'll be honest, I had to really think about it because, this was something that I didn't know anything about. But I kind of felt like if it was something that could help and keep them from being in the hospital and being sick all the time, then it was worth doing it. Well, Carly, I think her 4th grade year was her very worst. And in that year, she was in the hospital 5 times right in a row. And Courtney, her asthma it would come and go, but when she got sick, she got really sick. And she would usually end up with walking pneumonia and would be in the hospital with hers. So, and then with Haley, right, the same thing. It seemed like I lived at Children's Hospital. The nurses knew us by name when we come through the door because we were there just so much. And then too, we had to do the breathing treatments and like I mentioned, the steroids, which, has so many side effects and just makes them feel so bad. And then the inhalers and everything that goes along with the asthma.
It's really hard to accept asthma as part of your life when you're a kid because, I remember wanting to run and, play tag with my friends, but I had to stop every 5 minutes and be like, hold on guys, I can't breathe. And it got to the point where I would just sit out. I wouldn't try to do those things anymore. And so asthma it's really tough on a kid to have because you want to be a normal kid and you just can't.
I remember this one time, all my friends loved cross country. They all loved running and everything, and I'm like, oh, I fit in. I'm going to go try out for cross country, and I ended up laying on the side of the track, crying my eyes out, I can't breathe. And it was just, I always felt left out because they'd all be like, oh, we're going to go run. And I'll be like, oh, I'm going to stay here and color. It was our childhood, and it kind of revolved around asthma.
I never got to play with my friends, and if they would come over to the house and see how many medications I was taking, they would be like, excuse yourself? I hated it. I wanted somehow to get it out of my body and beat it up because it took away everything that I could do. I wanted to do track. I think it was my 3rd or 4th grade year, and they wouldn't even let me try out for it, and I had the shoes and the outfit and everything ready, and I was so bummed out because I couldn't do it.
Well, at the time that we got Carly on the study, the way that they decided if you could do the study basically was your allergy level had to be at a certain level, and also your asthma had to be at a certain level. So we had to do blood testing and that type thing. And then at that point then they started the shots, which was the medication for this clinical research. And I guess Carly was on it probably a couple of years. And at that point then her sister Courtney was put on the medication. And they just did so well that Haley was beginning to fall right in the same tracks where she was in and out of the hospital, sick all the time. So I was actually asking them, do you not have a study we can put Haley on? And at that point in time, it was for children that was older, and Haley wasn't old enough. And so finally they came around with a study that said, yes, Haley can do this study for children that's under 12. And I think she was the first one around to be on it. It was a blind study, but I knew she was getting the medication because of how much better she was getting. We stopped having to go to the ER. We stopped having to do the steroids, and she was just feeling better. She wasn't gasping for breath. She was just feeling better all the way around, able to play without having to stop. And the people at the clinical research were incredible. Haley got to the point where there was one that she would ask for specifically, and she'd always give her presents and prizes, and they were very good about working with us. They always made their appointments after school. And I told them up front that, their school is a very important thing, that, we couldn't miss school, and they said that's no problem. So their appointments were after school. I'd pick them up and then we would go up. So it wasn't very demanding whatsoever. Well, I think the clinical trials has kind of given me peace of mind because we never knew from one day to the next when one of the girls was going to be sick or be in the hospital. And now they very seldom, like I say, even have any trouble. I can't even remember last time we were at the emergency room, for an asthma attack. So even if they do have any trouble now, it's usually like if they have a cold or something and they'll take a breathing treatment and it fixes it, where before it wouldn't do anything. So I feel like what little bit of time we did spend in clinical trials has kind of gave them their life back, and the fact that they can live normal life instead of having to stay in the hospital all the time.
I think that if I hadn't have been on the trial and gotten this miracle medicine, I really call it that, I would have missed out so much in middle school and high school, so much that I wanted to do. And like I said, I would have missed out on choir, and that was, in high school, that was everything to me. So, I mean, it really did give me a sense of life that I didn't have before. So I don't think that anyone should worry about anything. If someone says, do you want to do this trial? Just jump on it. Just be like, yeah, let's go. Let's give them their life back.
Clinical trials just kind of makes life easier for everyone. Like, I can go up the stairs and not have to stop halfway and be like, okay, just a few more. And I can, like, go to the mall and hang out with my friends and walk around and not get tired and have an asthma attack and pass out or something.
Well, when Carly and Courtney, I saw the difference in them. So once I started it, I was like, I know this is going to work. And it didn't take long at all for it to work, but it was worth it in the long run because I could go and I could play and not have to take pills all the time and breathing machines and everything.
And they're all three still on the medication. Wow. So, and you know, we went from having 5 and 6, you know, hospital stays a year to they very seldom even have to use a rescue medication now. I mean, it's unbelievable the difference that it's made in them.